Hello everybody, this is Gareth Cahoon here. Today I'd just like to do a bit of a discussion about my views on the Gay Pride Parade. I'm coming to it from a Christian perspective, and this video is going to be called Pride Goes Before Destruction, because God made Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply, and same-sex couples cannot do that. And there's numerous verses in the Bible that talk about how homosexuality and gay pride has got nothing to be proud about. And this is my take on the Gay Pride Parade. Pride goes before destruction. Pride goes before destruction. A haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18 is one of the 33 sayings in chapter 16 of Proverbs, many of which remind the reader that wisdom and modesty are to be preferred over pride and wealth. According to Jonathan Cahn in his book called Return of the Gods, these spirits that were once prevalent throughout the world until Christianity drove them out, but now they have returned. Quoting one excerpt from the book, says that the pagan entity has the power to change a woman into a man and a man into a woman, and is even known to chop certain body parts off in an ode to transgenderism. Gay pride started in the Stonewall riots, also called the Stonewall Uprising, began in the early hours of June 28th, 1969, when New York City police raided the Stonewall Inn, a gay club located in Greenwich Village in New York City. The raid sparked a riot among bar patrons and neighbourhood residents as police roughly hauled employees and patrons out of the bar, leading to 6 days of protests and violent clashes with law enforcement outside the bar on Christopher Street. In neighbouring streets and in nearby Christopher Park, the Stonewall riots served as a catalyst for the gay rights movement in the United States and around the world. And out of this Stonewall riot, now we get the Gay Pride Parade. Today, and other offences that come from the inclusion of the LGBTQIA++ community, which stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex and asexual. And if you don't really know what all these mean, don't worry, you're not alone. I don't even think they're sure what they are. Now, don't get me wrong, I believe every person has the right to fairness and equality, right up until the fairness is for thee and not for me. Some of the ways this movement loses me is when you have men competing in women's sports. A case in point would be Leah Thomas, who went swimming as a man and was 200 200th and something in the swimming league rankings, and then transgendered for just a year, and is now winning every race where he is swimming against girls. Tell me, where is the equality in that? That Leah Thomas has not had all the surgery to cut off her male appendage. We found this out by her fellow swimmer, Riley Gaines, who was getting dressed and turned around only to see Leah Thomas in all her male glory. Then you have got the transgender schoolboy who sexually assaulted a girl in the toilets, and when the school found out, they didn't expel him, but what they did do was quietly move him to another school. But they didn't warn the school, and what happened was when he went to the next school, he committed the same act that he had done in the previous school. Another example is a catalyst in the United States who was flanked on both sides by two transgenders who tried to knock the poor girl off her bike. She was intimidated into leaving the very sport she loved because of the nonsense that is going on today in girls' sports. Now you've got the whole month of June to celebrate Gay Pride and the LGBTQIA++ community instead of a more sensible one-day event. Not even the Remembrance Day gets a month. They are not happy unless they force you to celebrate Pride. First they went to the drag queen story hour. Then they produced baby grows that state my baby is trans, my baby is gay, my baby is lesbian, for sale in Target stores in the United States. Then you've got the transgender clinics like Tavistock pumping puberty blockers into children as young as 5 years old. These kids, as we are finding out, were not transgender but were simply autistic or have other diagnoses that would explain what is happening better than pumping kids full of hormones, cutting their appendages off and leaving them with worse scars than their original diagnosis. And as we know, many of these kids either regret their surgery and detransition, and unfortunately many, many more end up committing suicide. Now transgenderism has reached the mainstream. Every woke company has jumped on the LGBTQIA++ bandwagon. Even in the West, you have the pride flag flown next to the Union Jack and the American flag. Even Joe Biden held a pride party at the White House in which a transgender woman went topless. It was debauchery all around, with innocent children looking on. Then you had Joe Biden explaining how brave the transgender woman was to have gone topless. No, sir. What is brave is war heroes, battered women, cancer survivors, not transgender women. What is a woman? I feel silly even asking the question, but the reason I am is because the worst thing that has happened with all this inclusion, that no one seems to know what a woman is. It is all because women's rights have had to play second fiddle to the LGBTQIA++ agenda. You have leaders stumbling over the question, can a woman have a penis? And according to Keir Starmer, some women do have a penis. Now they're promoting gay pride in schools, and even Christian children in the UK are not exempt. But in the US, kids are not standing for it anymore, so much so that they wrecked the gay pride stand and ripped down the pride flags the school had put up. And in the Muslim majority state in the United States, the Muslims are standing with the Christians in objection to the insanity of celebrating pride in schools. It is no wonder the number of trans kids is skyrocketing. Being a Christian, I feel it is my duty to stand against the whole rush to pride insanity and the indoctrination of our youth. if you want to join a movement.